Okay, now when I begin these videos, I always think, how should I start this? So, I've got my notepad. I don't know if you can see that. And I thought, I'm gonna go with the intro and talk about my business, talk about some gratitude, then maybe go to a quote for the day. And then I'm gonna talk about some other things with regards to the presentation that I did today, which was really successful, and then go into some other areas. So this is going to be a short video, hopefully done in one take. So let's begin. So, my name is Nathan. I'm always going to start with an intro because it's very likely that people that click this video, it will be the first time being introduced to me. So as I said, my name is Nathan, and I run a social enterprise called Neuro Expression. If you put that into Google, you'll be able to find it. And Neuro Expression is a social enterprise, or some would call it a CIC, which is a community interest company. And the whole purpose of Neuro Expression, to put it in short form, is that it's an entity or an organization that is to help and empower neurodivergent people, artists, and the neurodivergent community. So that's the goal, and it does that in various ways. Just to give some practical examples, so next year I have it's going to actually be a funded exhibition. It's going to be what's funded is this engagement, or what's funded is engaging the neurodivergent community, and we're going to do that by having a book where we tell, I think it will be 5 stories from 5 different neurodivergent people, and then we'll have an exhibit for the book, and we'll try and build a digital community as well. So we're really looking forward to that. Additionally to that, the year after, I have a neurodivergent friendly exhibition, which again is an exhibition with neurodivergent artists, which will have reasonable adjustments. Again, we want to engage the neurodivergent community. And additionally to this, we will have a virtual reality component. So anyone who has an impairment that will stop them from going to the exhibition, they'll be able to access it with a code. And one of the unique elements of this is that all the neurodivergent artists will be paid. Obviously, they'll be given a platform, and we welcome feedback to make these services better. So that's just a little introduction to the business, or should I say the social enterprise. So the next part I'm going to speak about, just speak about gratitude. I'm just really grateful that I had a great presentation today, which was talking about access to work. So access to work for disabled entrepreneurs, or access to work for neurodivergent entrepreneurs. I'm really grateful that that went really well. Really grateful that I got value from it, that they got value from it. Just grateful for life, really. Grateful to have the opportunity to have built this social enterprise, to have had funding to build the social enterprise, and I'm very grateful for that. And it's always good to be grateful for the opportunity. No matter how hard life gets, it's always good to be grateful. So let's go with the quote of the day from Oscar Wilde, which is, "What is a cynic? A man who knows the price of everything but the value of nothing." Oscar Wilde was speaking a profound truth, which leads into our next point, which is the exchange of value. Now, as I said, I did a presentation today, and just referring to my notebook for this point, in that presentation, there was an exchange of value. So what was the exchange of value? Well, number one, I got value from the audience because the audience were very knowledgeable. So basically, I was talking about how to access to work as a neurodivergent / disabled entrepreneur. So that's value, but they were giving me value of their experiences and giving me their insights. And there was some very knowledgeable people, some people that had, very respectable. And hopefully the audience got value from me because I was sharing my insight on how to access to work to enable a disabled entrepreneur to get funding. So that was the value that I was bringing. And Obviously, this gave me a platform to promote my brand, my social enterprise, and my services. And last but not least, I got paid for my time. So what we can say is that within this situation, there was an exchange of value. Everyone got value. The audience got value, and I got value. So to me, that's a win-win. And in business, or within the context of running a social enterprise, you're always looking to have a win-win, not a win-lose, a win-win. And this is one of those days where it was a win-win. And I was just really impressed with the knowledge that people had. And it was really good to, sometimes, when you're doing a presentation, obviously you prepare the slides, and, for me, I create visual slides, and I try to create a compelling narrative. But when you engage with people and they ask you questions, it can stimulate other thoughts. And sometimes just within the dialogue with other people, by simply asking different questions, we can generate new knowledge. And like I said, there was some really good insights from people. And it was an experience that was valuable. Like I said, there was an exchange of value, and I was very grateful for that. Okay, so what are we going to talk about next? Speaking of the presentation, now, me and G is my PA, we were talking weeks before and the day before about having a contingency plan. And in life, whether it's business, a contingency plan is important. First question, what is a contingency plan? To me, a contingency plan is just having something in place in case something goes wrong. So our contingency plan was, we were looking at, because this presentation was done online on Zoom, we thought, what would happen if the internet went? What would happen? And the contingency plan was, if the internet went down, I'd be able to use my mobile to tether the internet, and therefore would still be able to go onto the presentation. And if that didn't work, G would have a copy of the presentation, plus we've been going through it for the past few days. So in the worst case scenario, she would be able to deliver it. So we had a contingency plan. We'd gone through the material. We were really confident. And as we were doing the presentation, there's an additional element here. She also brought a laptop, which would enable that, okay, this is a new laptop, so there's going to be no problems with this laptop. We're thinking, okay, let's make sure it runs PowerPoint, blah, 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 blah. And the irony was that as I was going through the presentation, her laptop froze. And for whatever reason, it wasn't able to handle the presentation. So she couldn't actually hear anything. All she could do was manage the situation in the chat, which is ironic, because if my internet had gone down and if the contingency plan of tethering from the internet hadn't worked, then we would have been in some real trouble, because we wouldn't have been able to deliver the presentation. I guess what's the lesson from this? I guess it's funny, because on one hand we had a contingency plan, but sometimes you might have the wrong contingency plan, and I can kind of laugh about it, because it didn't affect the experience, and it was a really good experience. And another thing for me is that this goes back to gratitude. I'm so grateful for having a good team. So I'm not going to say people's names, because they might not want to, they might not want me to mention their names. But G and N, they are a part of the team. And N is a job coach and G is a PA, and they've both got different roles, and they are both essential. They are essential to the social enterprise. So for example, as I was going through the presentation, there were times when I'd hand it over to N, because N has an extensive knowledge of managing access to work, and one of his big strengths is that he does a lot of research. So he was really able to, give that knowledge. And also when there was some quite complicated questions or quite difficult questions, he was able to really not only understand the question, but be able to give a really concise answer, and that added value to the presentation. And it was just, and also additionally to that, G, even though G couldn't hear anything, because she could see the messages in the comment section, because when you're on Zoom there are messages that goes into the message section, for want of a better word, she was responding. So it's almost like, from my perspective, I'm so happy and I have so much gratitude, because I realized that without them two on my team, we wouldn't have been able to get through this. And they both bring such good skills, and very, very thankful. And like I said, it was a good day, and hopefully with the Access to Work presentation, I'm hoping to have quite a few presentations. And it's really good, because even though the presentation is free for the audience, I'm paid for my time and I'm paid for my expertise. And I should say we, because it's me, G and N, but it's free to the audience. And I really like that. I always love the situation where you can get paid for your time, but the participants, they can engage for free. So really just a win-win on just a win-win. And hopefully we're going to be trying to do this presentation or do presentations on Access to Work with different companies. It provides so much value. This particular training session was specific to entrepreneurs. So we're looking to do some Access to Work training for people that are neurodivergent / disabled that are working for a company. So it looks like that's where there's a bigger market for that. And when I use the term disabled, I'm using it in the legal context, because a lot of people that are neurodivergent, such as myself, a lot of people that are neurodivergent may not see themselves as disabled, but under the Equality Act, where you can access reasonable adjustments, it would be deemed as a disability to access the support. But that's another story. So what else do I want to talk about before I go? Okay. I was thinking, this is random, by the way. This bit is random. I was thinking the other day, right, that people talk about, there's this theme that people have, right, and they go, I'll only believe it if I can see it. Have you ever heard that? I've heard that. And it's almost formulated like it's an intelligent argument. And randomly I was thinking about this morning, and I thought to myself, just off the top of my head, right, and I actually wrote this down. To my knowledge, you can't see atoms, you can't see gravity, and you can't see love. So you can't see atoms, you can't see gravity, and you can't see love. And when I say see it, I mean see it with the naked eye, as opposed to seeing it under a microscope. And still, you couldn't see love under a microscope. But most people would ascertain that even though you couldn't see those three things, and there's more things, that they exist. So I thought to myself, when someone says, I don't believe it unless I can see it, are they effectively saying that they don't believe in atoms, they don't believe in gravity, and they don't believe in love? Are they saying that? Or is it just one of these common statements that really just doesn't make any sense whatsoever? So I thought to myself, I hope I don't say that. I hope I don't say I don't believe it unless I can see it. Maybe I could say I don't believe it unless I can see it and feel it, because I guess you can feel love, you can feel hate. But can you feel atoms? Can you feel gravity? I don't know. I guess that's a philosophical insight. But anyway, moving on from that, I just thought that would be something interesting to share. I was thinking to myself, and this is the final thing I'm going to talk about before I go. I was thinking to myself, right, like, if you make, because I talk a lot about business and stuff, and one of the questions I had pop into my head was, what is like the best product to sell? So we're talking about capitalism now, which unfortunately is an important part of society. So, looking at my social enterprise, the primary force is social benefit. But if it doesn't make money, it can't be sustained. So it's kind of like an oxymoron, because if it doesn't create social benefit and it makes money, it's a failure. But if it doesn't make money, then it can't really create the social benefit, because time is money, and also putting resources into things take money. Anyway, I'm deflecting from the point. But what type of product would I try to sell? That was just something that was in my mind today. And I was actually looking at my smartwatch, and I thought to myself, why is the smartwatch, why is it valuable? Why is it valuable? And I thought, why did I buy it? Well, ultimately, I guess I wanted a product that would count my steps. And that's effectively what I wanted it for. So you want it to do that effectively, and I believe it does do that effectively. But then when I bought it, it had additional features. So it had additional features like it counts if you do, it sets a target of doing 150 minutes of exercise a week, which I believe is the government recommendation. And if it does that, it notifies you. So I thought about this product that I brought, right? So it does that, so that's something additional. Also, it has an app attached to it, and in that app it gives you other statistics, and I can't remember them off the top of my head, but basically they're statistics on your physical health. So to me, I was thinking, okay, why is this a good product? So it's a good product because it delivers what I want, which is the steps, and it records it accurately. But then it also delivers more. So it delivers more than what I want, because number two, it gives me this other assessment of health, where it's assessing whether I do 150 minutes of exercise a week. So it gives me that additional feature, and then it gives me an app which also has additional features. So in a way, it's a great product because it delivers on its promise, but then it over delivers with additional features. But then when you think about, say, like the app, let's say if the app crashes every time I try and open it, then to me it would harm the product. So even though it delivers, having an app that doesn't work effectively would mean that, okay, this product's good, but it could be better. So I tried to relay that to myself in thinking, when I create a product or create a service, I want to deliver on the promise, but also over deliver. So for me, next year, we're going to be creating a neurodivergent friendly book as part of the project of engaging with the neurodivergent community. And I was thinking to myself, I really want that product to deliver and over deliver. So I want it to be a great book with great content, great imagery, and I want that book to be able to speak to the neurodivergent community. And I guess is, how do you do that? And so far, when I've been taking some notes, I've been thinking about, creating bigger text, creating a visual immersive element of the book, using particular type of text which would be neurodivergent friendly, for want of a better word, and then also having samples to get feedback from the neurodivergent community. So providing a sample and saying, okay, this is what we got, how could we improve it, and then taking on that feedback to improve the product, and then additionally creating with the product, if possible, some type of community. So having the exhibition to celebrate, because it's not just my book, it's a book for the neurodivergent community, and that can be like, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, that can be the expression of our victory, so to speak. So I was thinking about that. How can I deliver a great product? And also with the exhibition, I was thinking, okay, how could this, and I guess these are services, well, it's kind of services and products, But I was thinking, yeah, you know, with the exhibition, they have to have great products, which is the pieces of art, which is obviously subjective, but you want to have great art. So for the exhibition to be curated a particular way. But also when people go to the exhibition, you want them to have a great experience. And then the question is, how do they have a great experience? And I would argue they have a great experience by having great art. We want to be able to, because I'm based in Wales, we want to be able to engage with the Welsh context, with the Welsh speakers. So, you know, all descriptions will be in Welsh. So it's not just speaking to the English speakers, it's also speaking to the Welsh speakers. But and also to me, the selling point for me was, one of the biggest selling points was, what do we do with either neurodivergent or people with physical disabilities that can't get to the exhibition? How can we get them to experience it? And that's when I came up with the idea of having a virtual reality element where we have, I think what it will be like just a link. And when you get that link, you'll be able to actually, it'll be basically virtual reality. With the link, you'll be able to see the art, and you'll be able to see the three-dimensional space. And I'm constantly thinking to myself, okay, I want to obviously deliver a great product and deliver a great experience. And hopefully you can take something from that if you're an entrepreneur, a budding entrepreneur, in terms of building a great experience, building a great product, building a great service. And also marketing is important, but as I'm primarily doing a social enterprise, because we've got the grants, marketing is important, but it might not be, well, I guess it is the central focus, because obviously we want to bring people in. So I guess, and again, it feels like I'm just having a conversation with myself here, but I guess it's like, you build a great product, you build a great service, which creates a great experience, and then you have great marketing. And surely that is the winning formula. So anyway, I guess I'll sign out with this. You know, like I said earlier, you know, we had the presentation on how to access to work for disabled entrepreneurs. And I'm just really grateful that I was given a platform to be able to share my knowledge. And I'm really grateful that from what I could see, that people, you know, they enjoyed it and they got value from it and they were very appreciative. So, you know, that's created a nice experience today. And yeah, I'm just happy about that. So that's the end of the video, and I sincerely hope it has provided some value.